All right, good morning. Another project. I don't know if you can tell from the thumbnail, but my attempt for this project is to try to make Nismo arms for the 34. I'm gonna try to make it a little better. I'll go through the whole process, explain kind of what the Nismo arms are, what makes them better, this and that, yada yada. Anyway, versus the arms versus the hardened rubber that Nismo uses versus polyurethane. But I anticipate this project lasting me maybe a couple weeks, which is why I had to bring it to a different location. So first thing I'm gonna do, get the car ready, put it up on jack stands, take the tire off, and then I'll show you guys what I'm gonna do. So let me do all that. I'll be back in a little bit. All right, the wheel is off. So what I'm gonna do now is take off, I think it's the tension rod bolts underneath, the castle nut on the front lower ball joint. Smack that thing with a hammer and hopefully it comes off. Now I just have to undo the, I think it's a 17 or 19 millimeter bolt on the inside that holds the lower control arm on, and everything should pop off. So let's see. All right, so that was super easy. That literally took less than 5 minutes. Let me blast off the other side, take this home, and show you guys what I have planned. My brilliant idea. Both control arms are off. Let me take these guys home, show you guys my master plan on how to make these control arms better than the Nismo ones. I'm back home. Let me grab the arms and explain a little bit about what I'm gonna do. So here are the arms that I pulled out from the car. Let me do some explaining and I'll grab my parts I'm gonna be using. This is from Concept Z. Z Concept? CZP. Something like that. I don't know, I'm not too sure. I've been ordering parts from all over the place. So, here's a little explanation. These are the stock control arms, correct? The Nismo arms are the exact same thing. The only difference is that Nismo uses a hardened rubber. It's one of their own formulas, I guess. There's a bunch of companies that make hardened rubber. Now, the only downside with stock bushings that they're meant to be comfortable, I guess, when you're driving. They're not really performance oriented. They're sloppy through turns, suspension travel. It kind of sloshes around. Why not go with polyurethane? No. And here's what I've been saying for a long time. Polyurethane for longevity is not good. Why is it not good? By design, polyurethane was meant to be changed out very, very frequently, which is why a lot of race teams use polyurethane. Polyurethane will oblong after a while of use, depending on what kind of usage you're using, whether it's in a truck, car, what suspension part, how much travel it gets, if the car sits for a long time, if the truck sits for a long time, whatever. Polyurethane will always oblong after a long period of time. If yours has not, it will. I've had several trucks with suspension parts that have polyurethane and they do oblong. That's the nature of that type of material. It does not hold its shape. Its memory is not really as good as other things. So I could go with either full solid aluminum bushings, full solid spherical bushings, full solid stainless. The only downside to that is that it does require frequent maintenance, and to maintain those are a little bit more than what I want to do. So the next best thing is to go with Nismo. Nismo has designed all the bushings for the car, everything from subframe bushings to differential bushings to control arm bushings, knuckle bushings, everything. Their design blends the two best of both worlds. It's not full solid, but it's a little stiffer than stock, which is gonna give me the best combination of performance and longevity that I'm looking for. Here are the bushings that I picked up. Hopefully it's in this box. Let me find out. Oh yeah, here it is. All right, so in here I have all the proper bushings for everything that I'm gonna need. And these are all Nismo bushings. These are all made in 2024. So it's pretty darn new. These are from the factory. Where is this from? Oh, Nissan North America. This is from Nissan North America. I think they're in Arizona. But anyway, they have everything. This is the little circle plug that goes in the trunk. I just wanted one just for the hell of it. But here's all the bushings. These are for the knuckles and I don't know what else. Anyway, here's my plan. I'm gonna make this suspension arm a little better than the Nismo. The only difference between the Nismo is that it has the stiffer bushing in it, right? Which is what this is. Here's the part number. Alright, so I have two of these to replace for the two arms. So the next best thing that I'm gonna do to improve on these Nismo arms is to box this thing. By boxing it, I'm hoping to stop the flexing as the car cycles through its suspension and turns. Boxing it may not be the correct way because a box can fold on its end. If I were to insert triangle spaces into here, and if I was to triangulate the control arm, that would work. But what I'm gonna do is cut some flat pieces of metal, try to insert it halfway between the channel. Once I insert it halfway between the channel, I'm gonna have it welded, and that should be it. I've seen some people that use a press, just a regular bench vise, to press out these bushings. I do have the Amazon press that I did pick up, that 12-ton press. I get to play with that, whatever. I don't know how to weld, so I need to take these arms, once I cut the steel, I need to take it down to Daryl and have him weld it. I'll show you the little plates that I'm going to be putting in. Here's the stock that I got. I think it's about close to 2 inches. What I'm going to do is cut small little pieces to insert into here, measure this out, and I'm going to box it at certain areas, maybe 2 or 3, but not just box on the outside. I'm going to box it and have it sit further in. That'll give strength. That's halfway between boxing it, halfway between triangulating the control arm. So let me push these guys out. I may film it, I don't know. I need to cut this, so let me do all that. I'll be back again. Alright, here we go. This is what the arms look like. The first block is set maybe halfway between the arm. The middle one is right on the top, and the last one is right in the middle also. Whoops. Anyway, that's what I'm gonna do to help strengthen everything. I'm gonna take that down to Darrow's shop. Oh, and by the way, for those guys that are watching my video that do own shocks, external reservoir shocks like Icon and Fox, Darrow now does full rebuilds on all the shocks. Everything that you need for those external reservoir and non-external reservoirs, Darrow can rebuild everything with all the new seals, all the new nitrogen and everything. Okay, so the next thing I need to do, there's nothing wrong with this ball joint. It's still solid, it's still really good. But I did order, because I want everything to be brand new, GK Tech ball joints. So, really easy. I'm gonna take off the outer C-clip from the stock ones. Then I get to play with my new toy, my new press everything out. I don't know, maybe I'll bring you guys along for the ride. Alright, so now it's time to take out the original factory ball joints and put in these GK Tech ones. So kind of easy. I do have my ball joint press, which will probably come into use. I don't know. I'm gonna try both ways, so let me try it out and see what happens. All right, there you go. That easy. Putting the GK Tech ball joints back in are just the opposite. So let me clean all of this up, get it all clean, get rid of all the surface rust, put those in, and then I can work on the rear part of the control arm. So let me do this. I'll be right back. By the way, GK Tech also has online complete instructions video on YouTube on how to do all their things. GK Tech is freaking awesome. Okay, let me finish this up. I'll be back again. All right, I got it in. It was pretty easy. If you use one of these things, it can be done. It's gonna be a little awkward just because I was doing it by myself. If you have two people to hold, then it's a whole lot easier. For me, it was just easier to use the press. It was so fast. It literally took less than 5 minutes to push this new guy in. The rear is a little different. So what you need to do is brace the inside. GK Tech says to put a socket in the middle. Once you put a socket in the middle, then you can press this thing out. I am gonna look for a socket, stick a socket in the middle. That'll support the ends when you go to press it out. You just reverse it, press the new one in, press in the new Nismo part. That should be it. I may take you guys with me, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway. So the next thing is to change out the next bushing. I did insert a socket, and that'll help prevent any collapse of this whole thing. Okay, let me see if I can press this out with a 28mm socket on the back side. All right, there we go. Everything came out perfect. Coming out was pretty scary. I must say I was not ready for that. It just went pop and it scared the hell out of me. But going back in was really easy. Let me press the other side in, and then I don't know, we'll go from there. Let me finish it up. I'll be right back. All right, both arms are done. Everything is completed. All I need to do is take these arms down to Daryl, have him do the welding that I want to do, come home, paint these, put it back in the truck, and that should be it. And that's how I'm gonna make these arms better than the Nismo arms. I will do a solid mount for the tension rods, I believe, but that's later on down the road. Let me get these down to Daryl, have him weld it up, and don't forget, he does recharge and rebuild all the external reservoirs, suspensions for your four-wheel drives. Okay, let me get down to Daryl. I'll be right back. All right, here I am at Daryl's shop. Gonna drop off the arms to get welded up like I showed you guys. I love coming here. There's always these freaking crazy ass cars. Anyway, let me drop off the arms, explain to Daryl what I'm gonna do, and see how much it's gonna cost me. By the way, all the work that Daryl ever does for all my trucks or cars, whatever, I pay for everything. Daryl is a really, really good friend, and as a good friend, I will never mess with his business, his livelihood, and I respect him enough to pay for everything. So anyway, let me get going. All right, it's 2 days later. Daryl called. He said he actually finished with the arms that day that I dropped it off. I could not stick around to pick it up. So now it is time to go and get those arms. So I'm going to do that. Hopefully I can show you guys some of the fab work that he does. We'll see if time permits. All right, let's go get the arms. All right, I got the arms. I'll show you guys in more detail. This is freaking nice. Anyway, let me go check out a couple of Daryl's cars. Well, actually the trucks here, and I'll show you guys some of the fab work that he can do for you. I just thought that one of his 4Runners was pretty cool. He's putting a turbo kit on this thing. The intercooler is mounted in the bumper where you can't even see it. And he did his own custom 3-link. All right, time for me to get home. It's all these kind of crazy builds that Daryl does. Custom fab work for all my 4-wheel drive guys that have been watching and following my channel. He does, like I said, now he rebuilds and services all those coilover suspensions for those truck guys. Anyway, time to get back home. So a couple people emailed me on how they can get in touch with Daryl to do any kind of custom work or shock rebuilds or whatever. I did put his phone number in the description on the bottom, but in case you don't want to look there, there's something here. All right, that's how to get in touch with Daryl. Time to get home, show you guys the arms, do some cleaning, do some painting, get these guys back in. All right, good morning. It is the next day, and in keeping up with my can of worms, damn, it's gonna rain. Just my luck. I think I have a little bit of time. Maybe I can get through this project and get things going. Anyway, I picked up the arms yesterday. Here's what the arms look like. The arms came out perfect. The welds came out really nice, and I'm gonna leave it like this. I'm not gonna bother grinding it down, making it pretty. Who's gonna see the arms besides the ants on the ground? No one. So all I'm gonna do, clean these guys up, shoot some brake clean, degrease it, soap and water, get everything ready, and then I'm gonna paint it. I'm gonna use good old Rust-Oleum oil base. I've tried using so many different spray paints, acrylics, lacquers. For some reason, all spray paints over a period of time seem to be a bit porous, and it lets moisture through, and then they end up rusting. For some reason, the Rust-Oleum oil base, I've used it on my rear ends of the trucks, frames of my trucks. I've never washed it. I have taken the trucks to the beach, to the sand, salt water, nothing. It's still shiny. It never dulls. It's perfect. So I'm going to use the Rust-Oleum oil base on this. Okay, so let me get these guys all cleaned up and we'll go from there. Okay, now that everything is clean, scotch brighted, it's ready for paint. I forgot to mention one thing, that the Rust-Oleum is oil based, which means in order for the solvents to dry, in order for it to harden and turn to a hard, thick, long-lasting shell, it's gonna take quite a while. Maybe it may take about a week or so. So I'm gonna paint these, then I'm gonna hang them up. Once I hang them, let them dry for another week, just to make sure everything is perfect, and then put the arms back in. So I'll see you guys in about a week. All right, it's been about 2 weeks now. I'm gonna put the arms on. They're still not dried 100%. I'm gonna let them dry on the car. So what I'm gonna also do, I'm gonna anti-seize all these bolts when I put them back on, and that'll prevent any further rusting in the future. So let me do that. I'll probably time lapse everything, and I'll try to put in the torque specs as I go along. So Alright, so now it's time to put the wheels back on, lower the car, go for a test drive. I'll be right back and let you guys know the final results. Alright, the car drives really good. It feels a little stiffer. It does feel a little stiffer, but there's no real way to tell. I can't take the car on the racetrack. I didn't want to be a butthead and drive around on the public streets. But the car feels really good. I'm going to call this project a win, or this mod a win. I've done this once a long time ago when I used to race SCCA with one of my 240s, and that's where I got the idea. So this should work on other cars and other Nissans, 240s, or the S13s, S14, S15, maybe even the GTR, I don't know. So that's my version of the Nismo arms made better. All right, I have a ton more things to do. I need to get home and start working and planning. I hope this video helps someone out there. Like I said, it's all in fun. I'm not a professional. So thanks again, everybody. I'll see you guys again on my next project.